Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor here. Haven't done a What's Sold on eBay in a while, so I've got one coming out today. For those on Patreon, I do have a new video processing right now that should either be up tonight or tomorrow, Sunday. So just be on the lookout for that, those in Patreon. Sales have been through the roof. We've been just whomping it on sales. Last week was just monstrous, over $4,000. So I can't complain at all with the way things are going right now. So let's show you some of what we've been selling. So here we are with the first item. This is Holiday Magazine. It's a travel magazine, basically. John Steinbeck has several continuous stories and many issues of them. That helps sell them a little bit, but this one is the California Desert. This is one of the ones that you can sell over and over and over again. This wasn't even up a whole day, and I already sold it for 30 bucks. Average price on most all of the holiday magazines is 10 or 15 bucks. Again, this one does go for some more money than most of them. Hank Williams Jr., I talk about him all the time. I sell almost every single one of my Hank Williams Jr. within the first 30 days. Another example, this is a new number. This one just went up a week or so ago. $34.50 straight off. Long Gone Lonesome Blues is one of the most popular ones. So if you see this one, they're $1 a piece usually where I buy these type of things at. I usually get at least 30 bucks in profit off of these. So next one here. Now, this is a De La Rue. Now, they were printers to the Queen and King of England in the Victorian era. This one here, I know I've got a high price on it. I never know what they're worth. I had some conversation with somebody. I took 40 a piece on these. They're actually cut down versions. They're missing the border, unfortunately. Had they been complete, they would have probably been worth way, 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 way more than what I took for them. 40 bucks a piece I'm fine with. I bought a bulk lot of these for about 25 bucks. So I'm very happy with that return. Same thing on this one. I took 40 bucks on this one. Another De La Rue, 40 bucks on this one. And this one had some damage. It's missing a corner. So not only are they all cropped, this one actually has a corner missing. 40 bucks a piece. I am extremely happy with that. I made over 100 bucks on the entire purchase of a bulk lot. And I only had to sell 3 cards. So I've got hundreds more sitting around here. I paid almost nothing for these. This is something at an auction that people tend to miss. None of the items I got had advertising on them. That was the key on the purchase being so cheap. Everybody thought they were just printer cards and religious junk. Religious stuff sells for us all the time. So I don't care what the item actually is, as long as it's legit and it has a following. So again, good example. De La Rue, look it up if you don't know about De La Rue. It's as important as Raphael Tuck for the most part. Not all of them sell for great money, but there's some that sell for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Playing cards as well, De La Rue made. They also made some of the postage stamps for the British government as well. Another De La Rue. Now this one I took 100 for. This one's complete, and you can see the border that should have been on those other 3 that I just showed you. This is another good example of De La Rue. It's actually marked at the bottom of the actual card, which you can see right there. Sometimes De La Rue runs in together. It looks like one word also. Postcard. This is Jerusalem, the Dome of the Rock Mosque. It's a very, very sacred site. It's well cherished by many people. So $57.50 on this one here. Went straight out, no offers, $57.50. Dollar purchase on that postcard. Dollar record here. This is the Peerless Quartet. This is just before World War I or right around the World War I era. This is a real nice one here. $34.50 I took out of it. No problem on that. I paid $1 for it, just as I do for all of these records. Piece of jewelry, $24.50. Nice piece, Art Deco, early piece, 30s, 40s at the very, very latest. This is one of those 50-cent purchases. It's a decent size piece. It's just a nice looking pin. It's not marked or anything, but you can tell by the construction. Once you've seen a bunch of jewelry on the age on almost any of these are very distinguishable from other ones. So anyway, $24.50 on that one. Next one, a postcard. I took $31 on this one. I could have held on to it for a little while. This has been up for a while. No big loss. I knew it was going to sell. I actually only paid $2 for this one here. So I'm happy with 31 bucks back on my return on that one. Another record, Ambrose and his Mayfair Orchestra, $34.50 on this one. So nice purchase for $1. I got some good return on that. Again, this is just from the last, say, 10 or 12 days, I think, is what I have here. I just picked some random items. Quotes on sales are only from the store I share with you. I do not discuss or go into any details on my other stores. So obviously I'm selling on other platforms as well as just eBay. So sales are going up. We are expanding. It's the only way to get this in the upward movement here in your store. Expand, get some help, hire some help if that's what it takes. If you can't listen, you've got a ton of merchandise. Expanding. That's the only way to get this going really well. So here's a dollar book I purchased. Had the dust jacket, 1945 edition of Alice in Wonderland. I took $24.50 on this one. Now here's the next item. This is probably my favorite piece from last week. This is a $2 purchase. I purchased this with a bunch of CDVs. And literally, it's the exact size of a CDV as well. Now, this is an advertising piece. He is a dentist. He offered chloroform, ether, and laughing gas. All rare items back in the day. This is a very expensive dentist to offer all of those services. This is dangerous back then. You could actually have died through what they did. You didn't need a medical license to practice dentistry. There were carpenters that did dentistry on the side because they had hammers and tools, believe it or not, and pliers. So dentistry didn't mean you were a doctor of any sort. Some were, but the majority of people were just somebody practicing on their own. I did sell this one for $750. Again, this was a $2 purchase. I was very happy about the outcome on this one. I put it high. Maybe I could have put it up even more than that, but $750 is probably the top end of this type of CDV of any sort. I can't tell you another one like this that I've ever seen or had that sold for more than this, of this similar type with a real photo. Again, that is a real actual picture of him embedded in there. The border around it is basically a copy of an old, maybe Renaissance mirror or frame, and it's actually embossed from the card. So again, this is a really killer piece. I was happy when I found it. Ecstatic. Didn't think I was going to get $750 for it. I figured at least 4 or 5. $750 made my day. It was up for, I think, 3 days before it sold at that price. Next item, Little Beaver comic. This is from 1951. The painted cover ones are the ones that I like personally. This one sold for $20, $19.99 straight out. It was up for a day and a half. Next item is just a sheet music. I paid $1/4 for this one here. It's a psychedelic cover. It's bubblegum popcorn style music. It's 1910 Fruit Gum Company is the name of the group. And the song, as Simon says, $14.50. That one sold for. Now, the next one's a trade card, and I actually didn't pay enough attention when this was listed and assumed it was for oysters because that's what it looks like, but it's actually for Hartman's Blue Point oyster-shaped crackers. So I took $75 on this one here. Next one here is a John Philip Sousa record from 1906, very early, one-sided. He's performing the Liberty Bell March, and he actually wrote that march as well. Condition's not great. It's a V-. It's below mid-grade just a hair, but this is a fairly scarce record. It did sell for $29.99. You can see the actual back of it with the label, which is typical on all of these one-sided discs. Now the next one here is a Cinderella, a faux money bill. I had 2 of these. I didn't pay much for them, just a few dollars in general for both of them. This one I got $100, and I think the other one I took $125 on. So again, nice items here. $100 flip on this. My first one sold. I made like $75 or $80 off my entire day's purchase when I got these. So this is all profit on this one here. Now the next one here, I purchased a bunch of these. I've sold a bunch of these on Amazon. I've sold some on Etsy and a few other places as well too. This is Hula Dancers. They're bobbleheads. They do sell very well. I still have a couple left. I've got some single dogs and some single cows, I believe, still left too. This one I took, I think it was $23.95, and they paid shipping as well. I rounded off to $30 shipped. I got $1 into these two. I bought them at a wholesale deal. I bought a whole bunch of them. I've got a ton of these, I believe, still left. Next one's a postcard. $57.50 is what it sold for. Just an early, say, circa 1900, 1905 postcard. $1 purchase. Now here is a actual bottle label from Thurber's. Thurber's is well collected. The labels are the hard ones to get. Now, this came from a bottle collector that a friend hooked me up with. I did pay out a commission, a finder's fee for these. I did actually get a bunch of stuff. I already made my money back from the purchase itself in the finder's fee on these from the 2 first items that sold, and I've sold several more now as well, too. But again, this goes on a bottle. Next one here, another label by the same company, Thurber's, with their actual factory on it. Now, these might have been on the same thing. I don't know. It might be the front and back. Either way you go, this is a very nice label. Very good condition. You can always tell these are labels by the actual feel of the paper and how it's printed and the bleed through on the back. They always look the same on these early labels. Everyone, even up into the 1910 era, I could always tell a label from a cutout, print ad, or any of that other stuff, or even a trade card. They're just totally different type of construction on these. So again, another 75 bucks on this one. Here's just a small talcum powder tin. I mean, it's really small. It was a small piece. $27.50. I paid 50 cents for this thing. I actually got 4 or 5 different ones like this out of an old house, an estate sale. Now, I had this for probably 6 months. It just went up maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it was up for about 10 or 12 days before it sold. Next one here is a, let's see, a California card, Santa Barbara. This one I took 75 bucks on. This same person bought another one, which I think I've got in here as well, too. Now here's the other one here. This one sold for 140 bucks. Another California card. This gentleman's from California. This is Los Angeles. If it was from a smaller town or somewhere more interesting, this would have probably went for a heck of a lot more. The subject matter is what kills this. Hardware is okay, but it doesn't go into any specifics on those. Some leather items and stuff as well too, but nothing really fancy other than the engraved card itself. Had this been in different colors, it would have been worth a lot more. I'll show you another one that went for even more than this. Again, this one went for 140. Next one here is a Sandman card. I took 52 on this one here. It's an old wives' tale. You can see the whimsical characters. This is a fantasy piece. You can see the Sandman there on the far right, and he's actually dropping sand. The moon's coming up or the sun's going down. I'm not sure which that would equate to. I would gather the moon. But again, $52 on that one. Now here's 2 Japanese records. I actually bought these 2 to get some other ones that came with it. The other 2 ones were much popular. I think it was the Japanese Ramba on the other ones. I've gotten many of those, and they always seem to sell. They're on a Victor record printed in, I think, Nagasaki or Nippon, maybe, one of those 2 cities. Nice example of a Japanese press one just before. This one's from Yokohama as well. There's several factories for RCA Victor over there. So another good example of these. I got, I think, a quarter or something in each one of these. The 4 and 78s don't sell very well unless you know which ones to buy, so I can usually get them dirt cheap. Again, I do sell these fairly well. These are 2 discs. I roughly got about $12 or say $13 return out of my investment on these. After fees, after everything's said and done. Now the next one here is an interesting card. This actually lists the fire alarm box stations in Providence, Rhode Island. It would be like a handout from maybe a fire insurance company. It's a really interesting item here, in all honesty. I've never seen something quite like this in the era. It did sell for $57.50. I don't even remember where I got this from. I might have had it for a little while. Didn't get it up until recently. Marky just listed this one, I want to say, last week. Now here's another California card. Now this one has multiple colors. It's engraved with different plates. This one actually sold for $250 on this one. If it wasn't from Los Angeles, I could have probably got another $100 out of it. Again, $250 on this one here. Some Micronaut parts. I know the images aren't so good. This was actually up for quite some time. I've well got my money out of these. This was a big set that I've gotten. I actually had 2 different sets that I got over a little length of time, so I just upped it on these. I break down all these Micronauts. If you don't know what a Micronaut is, look up Micronaut and look up Microman, which is where Micronauts started from. Hasbro made the first U.S. versions of the Micronauts, and before that it was Takara. Now you should know Takara because it's the same company that made some of the G1 Generation 1 Transformers, as well as obviously Microman to start off with too. Poppy is another name that kind of ties in with a lot of these items too. So Again, this one went for $14.50 for this group. I had a bunch of them. I've sold 3 for at least $14 for each one. I paid a couple bucks for a big box of stuff, so I can't complain at all. And I made like 10 different lots, 10 different mixes of lots. So I've got, say, 6 of this grouping here, and then I've got another 10 lots, 10 listings with different items from the same set in it too. Most of them are sold at this point. Next one's another record. This one did sell for $37.50. This is a dollar purchase as well. The Happy Six. Nice early pre-war jazz. Caravans, well known, well collected. This was a pretty decent one here. Next one here now, this is CB's. I might have been able to get a little more money if I split these up, but these are V-mail. It's a whole packet. Well, actually, it's missing some. I think it should have had 24 or 25, and it's actually missing 5 or 6 from the packet. Just random ones thrown in here. This is what would have been filled out by a soldier or a serviceman or a loved one. They would have taken a photo of it, and then that photo would have been used to transport because it took up less space. And it was small, they could censor it, and the whole works. This is just an example of one of them as well, too. So 75 bucks on this one. This one's up for about an hour before it's sold for 75 bucks. Here's a set of Liebig. Now, this is a meat extract, like a bouillon cube company. Most of these are actually from Germany and France area. It's a German company that made these. Let's see, is this a German one here? Yeah, this is a German one as well, too, it looks like. Yeah, Das, yeah. This is another German example of. This is a 6-card set. I got $46 out of this. Now, there's some by Liebig that go for like $300-400 a card. And they are cows, and they're shaped like a pallet. Those are the #1 card out of this entire company that you'd want to get. Now, this company also made thousands of sets. So there's probably 6,000 or 7,000 different cards from this company. Some of the English versions are worth a ton of money because the majority of these were from Europe, but they were well collected over here too because the products were imported through the 1880s, 1890s. It may even still exist for all I know. Here's just a label, $36 on this one. It's a baking powder label. This would have been stuck on an envelope or something like that to advertise business deals or sending invoices or something along that line. Now this one here, I just threw in here. I sold it for $24.50. I did show this in a haul, so I figured I'd just pop this in here. He's got some issues. He needs some cleaning. Still, they don't show up very often these days, especially with the llama in there as well, too. The llama's from a play set, if I'm not mistaken. So good items, $24.50. I don't think I've got but 50 cents into these. I would have to even go back and look just to figure out what I have into them. Now, this was in a haul, too. This is Cuban Pete. And this is by Desi Arnaz, which is Lucille Ball's ex-husband. Obviously, they've passed now, both of them, but this is a pretty good purchase. I did show this in the haul, I think on a live show haul. I took 50 bucks on it, you know, no big deal. I got almost nothing into it. I purchased a huge lot of movies for like $125. I've sold probably 70% of those already for top dollar. 50 bucks on this one's pretty darn top dollar on this one. And the last item here is another Jazz 78. This is Joe Canduli. It's a hot dance and his baby face. Everybody should know that song. It's been around for a long time. This is circa 1915, 1920s. It's made on shellac. All of the early 78s are shellac. They are not vinyl. That's why you cannot pack them any other way than like China. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. Well, there you go. That's what we have for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.